For coming. This is kind of an unusual thing for us here, but I think it's a worthwhile program, and we're anxious to announce this program. It's what I would call combined effort, which proves that there's no limit to what can be accomplished as long as nobody here should get the credit. And we have Michelle and Margaret, who's the mother of Nicole, who's here, and based on their efforts, their ingenuity, and their desire to correct a wrong, they have talked to our regional legislators from this district, Senator Singer, who's here on my right, and the Senator Nancy Maloney, who are from the same district where Michelle and Nicole live. And as a result of Nicole being a victim of a crime some time ago, there's a question as to the person who committed this crime against her as a sexual assaulter, who is about to be released from prison. And there's a real concern that these defendants who have been accused of this crime, convicted and sentenced in this case, stay away from the victim. And there's been a difficulty with the law, kind of a shortcoming in the law, that would have placed the burden on the victim to make application for the restraining order, question whether or not they have enough evidence to get it approved. So in this case, Michelle, to her credit, Michelle, really want to extend credit to you for conceiving of the idea of this statute, because I told Michelle it's such a good idea that I'm sorry I didn't think of it myself. What it provides for is an automatic temporary restraining order to be imposed upon a person who's accused of a crime of sexual assault, and then at the time of the conviction for that temporary restraining order to become a permanent restraining order. And it finally also provides that in the event the victim is underage, that the parent or guardian would have the legal authority to make that application on behalf of the underage victim. So based on Michelle's conceiving of this idea, she asked me what I thought. She went then to see Senator Singer, and between Senator Singer and the members of the legislative team, they had drafted a bill, which I'm going to ask Senator Singer to talk about, which is going to be named Nicole's law in honor of Nicole. And I think it's really going to be a blessing to a lot of the victims, not just here in Ocean County, but throughout the state of New Jersey. And I think that's something that a lot of people will be grateful to both of you for having done. So, having said that, maybe Senator Singer, I'd ask you if you would like to explain the process, you know.
Thank you, Tom. First of all, it's kudos to the family. We appreciate this so much. You're a very brave young lady, Nicole. Most victims, certainly don't want the spotlight. We understand it, but you're helping out other people, unfortunately, that face the same problems. This is correcting a wrong. Right now, it's under the discretion of the judge to grant a permanent restraining order. And what Nicole and Michelle shared with us is, now you have to relive it again. You've got to go back into court and relive the crime again to get that permanent restraining order. At the time of conviction, the permanent restraining order is placed on anyone on the vacancy form, period. You don't have to go back to court. Family doesn't have to go back and do what was done at that time. And they can be assured that the restraining order is in place when and if that person ever gets out of prison. I think it's an important aspect of this. Protecting the rights of the victim is sometimes something we lose in the system. This becomes the most important thing. The victim's rights are protected, the family is protected, and they can rest assured that restraining order is there. They don't have to revisit court again, they don't have to do anything else, it's permanently there. And should that person violate it, they're back in jail. And I think when you think of the heinous of all the crimes that are covered under vacancy, I was speaking to a judge this morning about it, and they said, well, in most cases we do that. I said, you don't have to do it. You're not mandatory to do it. It's up to the discretion of the judge. And she had to say you're right. And she had to do it. So at the end of the day, this is something that was a great idea, as the prosecutor said so well. We wish we had thought of it first. We didn't. Michelle and Nicole did. The credit goes to them. We couldn't go to them. And really, I appreciate the fact that they're willing to step forward with this, because legislative process, and I know that Joe Malone can tell you the Assembly side will not answer, as well as the fact that, by the way, Senator Ciesler and Senator Connors have all signed on the bill, all three legislators from Ocean County. When it comes time to listen to the testimony, Nicole's testimony will be the day. It's very, very difficult for anyone to say no when someone comes up and says, I'm a victim of this crime, and this is why I need that. I'm very confident that this bill will become law, and it will be. The more important is, it's going to help out victims for every state in the world. And I want to thank you for caring and sharing with us and allowing yourself to work for us. Thank you.
And just second what someone said too, we want to assure you that when this comes up for any of the hearings, we'll be in touch and we'll certainly make sure that we announce our total support for this legislation. And I hope we get the other prosecutors, the Prosecutors Association to also endorse this.
Well, first, as the senator said, we want to commend both Michelle and Nicole for coming forward. You know, sexual predators have their due process, but it is long overdue in our society today that we establish a process to protect the victim and to provide more than protection, so that you don't have to adjust your life, you don't have to adjust your lifestyle. When that sexual offender is released, there's going to be an automatic restraining order. You shouldn't have to change your life. You shouldn't have to adjust. Society now, as a result of your courage, stepping forward, and we give you all the credit for coming forth with the genesis of this bill, Nicole's law. Because if it were not for you, this would not be in place, or at least the legislation would be introduced at this point. I just want to thank you. It's a great job.
Nicole, I want to thank you. Bob, Ron, and I had the opportunity to institute legislation because of people like yourself coming forward to the office and bringing us issues, whether it's graduate driver's license or other pieces of legislation. This is how the legislative process is supposed to work. We are supposed to be working with constituents and putting forth legislation that is effective in dealing with issues that really impact the lives of individuals that we represent. I had the opportunity to be on a task force reviewing the work at Avenel, which is basically a sex offender prison in Norway. I mean, as you all know, and just reading the paper, the world is a crazy place. New Jersey's a crazy place. And if we don't do everything we can as legislators to protect young people and make sure that we do our job as legislators, then we shouldn't be in office. And I'll be honest with you, I am proud to serve with Bob Singer and Ron Dancer because I know where they stand on many of these issues. We have been very effective dealing with issues like this. Your law will be passed. And we're very proud of that. I think that it does take a lot of courage for a young person to come forward. But unless we have people like you who have that courage, it's not going to happen. And we can do our part. But I'm going to tell you, you will truly be admired by many, many people who may be in similar circumstances that just don't have the courage to come forward. So I want to thank you and your mom and everyone for just all that you've done to help us. And now it's our turn to help you. So let's go through this together and work this thing through. And I think you'll be happy at the end with results. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd just like to introduce Sherry Sealing, who's our victim witness coordinator, who's worked with Michelle and Nicole. A tremendous job for victim crimes.
I just have a few words. Statistics have shown us that sexual assault is one of the most underreported crimes. And is it any wonder that when a victim has to talk about the most personal, horrifying incident that they may have ever experienced, thinking in the back of their mind that the person talking to them is possibly blaming them and saying that they've done something to deserve this. Nicole Norberto was incredibly brave the day that she reported that someone she thought was her friend had raped her. Society places blame on the victim often as a defense mechanism so that they feel this can't happen to me because I would never get myself in a situation like that. And it's very difficult because placing the blame on the victim is shown throughout society, and that a sexual assault is a crime of power and control, and that the victim is powerless over this situation and is never, ever the victim's fault. While working with victims of all types of crimes for 18 years, it's been my experience that victims want to be informed, they want to be safe and secure, and they need to be empowered to make decisions to help to take control over something that is uncontrollable. Taking the first step to report this crime was very brave of Nicole, but going public and writing this law is monumental courage. To stand up and say, for all victims of sexual assault, we are not going to take this anymore is tremendous. She's done a great job. She's an awesome kid. Nicole's law would fulfill so many of the needs of victims: safety, security, and a choice to take action in a situation above and beyond reporting crime. By the courts granting restraining orders to these offenders, it finally puts the responsibility of the act on the offender and hopefully will change the way society looks at sexual assault as a whole. Nicole should be commended for taking this gigantic step and providing the tools that victims need to one day balance the scales of justice for all.
Now, Michelle, Nicole.
Nicole would like to say
okay.
we're going to
Come on up.
Alright, I just want to thank you all for coming today and supporting me and my new law. My name is Nicole, and yes, I am a survivor. In reporting my incident and going through the system seeking justice for what was done to me, I experienced many things. Some of those things were fear, upset, frustration, and humiliation. I was in a system that was there to protect me, but found that there were many pitfalls. The person who committed this crime against me has so many more rights in protecting him that it almost looks like the system that is there to protect you is against you. He got away with a lot of things, like trying to contact me after he was arrested. I was told that it was okay for him to have friends harass me and humiliate me on his behalf. I had to live the best of my high school years as if I were in prison. I made it through some really tough times and decided that I can make a positive change. I can do something to help other people going through this and make it easier for them so they don't ever have to experience the things that I've been through. That's why me and my mother decided that we would write this law, Nicole's law. Thank you.
Well, listen, I think that's everything you can say about this thing. It's going to be a fun deal. We'll get this legislation. I don't know when the legislative schedule is, but I'm sure we'll put it on a track. We'll get it done as
Well, it's in the hopper, it's officially in, and we have a bill number already. We're on the way.
Okay, so do you have any questions you want to ask?
The restraining order, is there any, is it a set distance, kind of time?
You know, I think the restraining order will depend on, the terrain of the situation, so it will depend on the circumstances. They can be.
Okay. And I think the important aspect, just the one thing on this, is that in this case, particularly right now, Nicole will have to go back into court to rehash the entire thing to get it from the restraining order. That's just wrong. It's wrong for the family. It's bringing back bad memories. It shouldn't have to be. This simplifies the whole thing. Once the person is convicted, first it was a temporary while the case is going on. Once the person, if they are convicted, it moves to permanent. It solves the entire problem.
If I could just add something about, if she were to go in today and ask for a restraining order, she wouldn't be able to get one because it wasn't a dating relationship. They will only give restraining orders for domestic violence situations and dating relationships. That's what's so tremendous about this bill.
Now, Nicole said she was harassed by friends of this person's victim. Does that cover that?
Well, there was some question that the defendant in this case was putting some of his friends up to harass her. Without difficult to name those people, but it certainly sent a message that that happens now with a restraining order, and if you can see the tie-in where he was behind that.
It would give some extra way to stop them from doing that.
Any other, yes, Catherine?
Yeah, I have a few questions. I was wondering just, what kind of harassment Nicole had to put up with.
Well, your question is what kind of harassment could you answer? Could have the opportunity to ask.
People would usually just call me and tell me that I lied about it and that he told them that he was innocent and that I cried rape and stuff like that. People would drag